box there with your battery switch inside. That's your fuel tank. Electric panel, air compressor, and then battery charger. Here we have engine compartment. Here are all your filters, your coolant reservoir, engine oil dipstick. We have a hydraulic tank and an engine compartment on top. This is your foam transfer pump to fill the foam tank. Here are the suction lines to fill the tank. That's your water pump, your relief valve on this side, right there. And then here you have the controls for it. And that's your discharge, one of the dischargers for the water lines. Down here we have a handgun, switches to turn on the water. The switch is blow down if you were using foam, for example. And then this is your rewind switch. Up here, these are controls for foam. Based on this graph here, you choose the percentage you want to add. We have a bumper turret with water as well as chemicals. That's your chemical line here, and that's your water line. There we have a Snozzle. We have a piercing nozzle and the turret as well. And you have a chemical line going to it as well. Here we have all the water valves. That's for the bumper turret as well as the Snozzle. Here you have your gas tank that pushes the propellant for your chemical system. Down here we have another handgun. This one has two lines, one for water and foam, and the other one is for the powder that is pushed by this gas here. So you have two different handles here. One for water and foam, the other one is for chemical. On these switches here, you have your dry chemical that would engage this line specifically here. This one would engage the water line here, and then this is for blow down. When you use a chemical afterwards to clear the system, you would use this blow down switch, and then this to rewind the reel. On this side here, these are your suction lines to fill the tank, and then you have your discharge here. And then that's for foam. Here we have a solar panel for the batteries. Muffler there, exhaust. This is your foam tank up here. That's your hose for dry chemicals. This is for the tank here, dry chemicals here. Up here, you have your valve, drain valve, and a gauge of the pressure in the tank. And if you're going to refill the tank, that's the valve you would open to release the pressure from the tank. Down here you have controls, emergency controls to lower the boom or to rotate the boom if you need to on the side. Let's start with these switches. You have your master switch here, ignition. This is your starting switch. Your switches for lights. This is warning disable switch. High idle, and lock your axles here. Your transmission selector, air brake. Obviously all your gauges here, speedometer, RPM, fuel gauge, temperature gauge, and everything else. Turn signals, hazard lights, horn. Panel, we have lights for the upper, lower and upper turrets, as well as in the front lights. You have on top lights here. This is your dry chemical system. If you're going to use the powder, you turn this on. If you want to just blow down after use this switch here. Flush, that if you were using foam system to clean out the system, use this switch here. Here you have your water pump. Engage your water pump. This is your foam. This is electrical water pump that would have the nozzles that are above the windshield with spray to keep your windshield cold. And then this switch right here, that's for under truck. Turns on those nozzles there. Here you have your pressure gauge. You'll see what the pressure is when your pump is on. These two joysticks, this one is to operate this nozzle, and then this one is to operate the turret on this nozzle here. On this one here, you have your lights on the upper turret. Park switch. This switch, if your turret is either turned or up, like mid or high or low attack, it doesn't matter. If you hit the spark switch, you're gonna give it a minute, and it'll basically fold the boom back into its park position, so that you'll be able to drive it. Pierce. This selects between the piercing nozzle and the turret. Once you select that, your turret will turn completely to the left, and then you will be able to adjust your piercing nozzle with this joystick here. On this one here, you have your low attack, mid attack, and high attack. Basically, these are pre-programmed, and they will raise the boom. Low attack, it has a certain position where the boom goes down. Mid attack, it goes about halfway, and then the high attack, it raises the boom and extends the boom all the way up. So you can do this and use the pre-program, or you can do the same functions. You can do this with this joystick. You can operate this. Auto level, it keeps your nozzle straight. When you're raising or lowering the boom, it will keep your turret straight there. Auto extend, same thing on these functions here. It will extend to the program position. And then clash override, this switch, basically it's pre-programmed so that when you're operating the function, so that you would not hit the cab or the roof or the rails on the top. But if you need to move to a certain position, you can override it with this switch, and then you operate it with joystick, and you can bring the boom closer. But make sure you don't hit the cab or the roof or whatever. This one turns on the entire system. Turns on these two joysticks here, and then auto oscillate. This switch will make the turret rotate to the right and to the left automatically, back and forth. And then if you want to stop that, you click that again. This joystick here is for the bumper turret. Again, on this unit here, you have low attack and high attack, which has two cylinders, which makes the turret itself go down. On the low attack, high attack, it will basically stay in this position here. And then here you can either turn on this switch here to turn on the turret, or you can turn this on. Nozzle level, it will do the same thing. When you're lowering it or raising it, it will keep the nozzle straight there. And then here you have a park switch. You're supposed to drive it in the park switch, so it will basically bring the turret in this position. It will stay locked. You will not be able to operate the joystick. When it's in bumper position, you're able to operate it with the joystick. And then when it's in oscillate position, the turret will go right, left to right automatically, back and forth. And then you can turn that off if you don't want that. Here you have your you have two different things here, because these turrets, both the top and the bottom, they have auxiliary agent, because this truck has a chemical system on there. You can operate chemical system from these joysticks. It's right here, on off here, and then here you have on off here, and then you have your light here for the chemical system. Here your stream or your fog, low or high, on or off. Up. And then you have another knob there that you can operate it from here as well. On this panel here, you basically your standard cab control. You got your here mirrors, your windows up, down, and these are your outside lights. You know, you got your top deck lights, left hand, right hand, rear lights, ground lights, and all that. And then you got your auxiliary fans here, step disable, turns off the lights if you're gonna keep the door open. And then dome disable, so if you don't want your dome light on while your doors are open, you can just turn this off. And then if your compartments are open, you're gonna have alarm in the cab, and you can use the switch to turn that off. These are your wiper controls, and then here you have your AC and heater controls.